Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Debate 8, where you are going to decide live tonight which is the best Kevin Smith movie. We have 8 of his best movies on this list, in my opinion, and we are going to get together and debate them, put them in a tournament bracket, and by the end of the night, we're going to have one winner that you guys are going to decide and vote on. And I have a guy on with me who it's been a minute, but we love when Trinity from Second Street Marvel comes on the show to give his takes. Trinity, my brother, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well, man. Great to be back. Thank you so much for hosting me here for this great debate. It's going to be a great night.
It is. This is the second time we've done Kevin Smith movies, and it's going to be interesting to see if the same one comes out on top. Last time we were talking about before the show, Chasing Amy came out as the winner. I think it's going to be real interesting to see. I think, we're throwing in Reboot now that's come out, that made it onto the list. Trinity, Kevin Smith, what are your overall feelings about the director, the man himself?
Thing I want to start off with right now, chances are if you're on this channel, and maybe even if you've ever heard of my channel, you probably love Kevin Smith, but not only that, you probably love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I got to tell you one thing, starting off, you have to thank Kevin Smith for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is the first person who put together and built a shared universe of movies together that connected with characters that span throughout the universe. He set the template with the movies that we are going to be discussing tonight. And the other thing is tonight's going to be such a great debate too, because there's a lot of actors, filmmakers, and things out there that you can bring on their movies and talk about that really, when it comes down to their top 8 movies, there is a big distinction between all of them that separate them.
Mm-hmm.
We're here with Kevin Smith. I have a feeling that most of his movies are that upper echelon. There's only those bottom few that I really think are that just that little bit different. So here tonight, we're going to be debating real actual quality of films here, because these movies are really on par with each other, especially the way that all of us have emotional connections to these.
I don't think I could have said it better myself, my man. Let's take a look at the bracket. Actually, Trinity, I'm going to hang up and call you right back. You're on a bit of a delay, so maybe if I hang up and call you back, it'll just reset it real quick. And if not, then no big deal. We just we roll with it. It's all good. Hey. All right, let's try this. All right. I think we're good. I think this looks all right. Trinity, can you speak for the people?
Time right now too.
Oh yeah, that's better. That's definitely way better. All right, cool. All right, so we are back on track. Now the voice goes with the mouth. But Trinity, these are the movies we are going to be talking about tonight. Dogma, #1 seed, Jay and Silent Bob, Mallrats, Zack and Miri, Clerks, Chasing Amy, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Clerks 2. And we are going to start off with the first matchup. The #1 overall seed, Dogma, will go up against the #8 seed, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, the newest one that came out. Okay, it's going to be a tough road for Reboot. So go ahead and let the people know how you feel about this matchup and which one should move on to the next round.
Well, I think this is a fairly easy round, to be quite honest with you. Exactly one of the things I said right at the top of the show here that I was flapping my gums about is the distinction of films here, where a lot of filmmakers, you get there's a big distinction between their best films and some of their lower tier films that might make it onto a bracket. And here, this is the distinction right here. There's a reason why one of these here is in the #1 seed and the other one is in the #8 seed here, is because Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, while it is a good film, it's funny, it's got drama, it's got all those things that you love about a Kevin Smith films. And let me tell you, when you're watching a Kevin Smith film, they're not all about just weed and dick and fart jokes. But There are also about great drama, and I think Jay and Silent Bob Reboot just didn't quite toe the line of balance and even the pacing of the film to really keep a lot of people interested and engaging as even the film that came before it. Now, there was also a lot of fast-moving jokes throughout that I noticed even when I saw it at the theater. Fans that love Kevin Smith because we watched 2 movies back to back, where it just didn't quite feel the same. But a lot of people weren't picking up on the jokes, and I think that's where a lot of it came in at. And a lot of the dramatic beats didn't seem to quite hit as well in this film. Where you look at Dogma, Dogma is one of Kevin Smith's best offerings that there is. This is not necessarily the one that I think is his best film, but this is definitely the upper echelon of having the comedy mixed in there with a little bit of some drama, but for the most part, it's just a fun ride that is well paced. And this movie definitely stands the test of time, as we were just watching this with the Immortal Myrtle Maniacs the other day on our Discord channel, and this movie is absolutely great. And again, stands the test of time. I'm sure this is the one that's definitely going to be moving on in this round.
Yeah, I totally agree. Look, I didn't hate Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. I definitely think the third act was way better than the first 2 acts combined. There were some parts where I got really kind of emotional, like with the Ben Affleck stuff. A lot of like the stuff that he was in really was stuff, really meaty dialogue that he could really sink his teeth into. It was just sort of, like it tried to be a very nostalgic movie, and I guess it worked. And I know some people like it more than I do out there. I just think it was fine. It was fine. But Dogma, to me, personally, is his best movie. I'm not going to go too far into it right now because I think it's going to move on to the next round pretty easily. So I'm going to save a lot of my Dogma stuff, but I'll just put it out there. I love Dogma. It's an incredible movie. I can't wait to gush about it because I think we're going to need to for sure in the next round because I don't know if it's going to win the whole thing. So I might have to pull for it a little. All right, let's get the poll going for the people and have them do it. All right, let's see. Cloudbot. Oh wait, where are you, Cloudbot? It says something went wrong. That's not good. Hold on, let me refresh. All right, hold on, I'm gonna close the poll. We are. This is a professional operation we got going on here. Why is the poll not showing up?
Drop those rigged emojis into the chat.
Interesting. All right, hold on. Let me do this. Hold on. Closing the poll. Cancel the poll. All right, let me reset.
It looks like it's working on this end.
I know. It's not working on the screen. All right, hold on. Let me go to the poll. Let me refresh it. All right, poll is refreshed. Let's start it up. There we go. If you want to vote for Dogma, vote 1. If you want to vote for Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, vote 8. Trinity, I think it's going to be 100%. 100% Dogma goes it. Oh, never mind. Nerds of the Round Table coming in with the vote with the 8 right there. So there goes.
Yeah.
There goes.
If my man Wayne is in the building, he'd probably go Reboot on this too. I know he definitely is one of the fanatics of Reboot. I think Reboot is a good movie as well. It's just it's not the upper echelon of Kevin Smith films like Dogma is. Yeah, no, definitely not.
And of course, it's like not even working. I think we're crashing and burning tonight, Tren. I don't know why. It's like not recording any of them. But I can see that number 1 is winning. So hopefully by the time we get to the next vote, it magically does it. So we're just going to close the vote. We got a ton of 1s there and a couple of 8s. So I'm going to call it 80-20. Let's call it 80-20 for now and have Dogma move on to the next round. All right, let's go number 1, Dogma. always a good time when your tech just doesn't want to work. Always good. Always good times. All right, we're gonna move that on. All right, so let's go to the bracket.
Streamlabs for you.
Oh man, something's up. You know, it sucks when you do everything right on your own end, and literally you give your all control over to a system that you have no control over, and just you cross your fingers and just hope it works.
The beauty of live streaming, ladies and gentlemen.
I tell you. All right, we got the number 4 seed Mallrats goes up against the number 5 seed of Zack and Miri. This I think is going to be super tough for people. I have a feeling people are going to lean Mallrats. Me personally, I'm leaning Zack and Miri. Which way are you leaning on this one, Trinity?
To be quite honest, I think this one does sound like one of those easy kind of votes, like you're just saying, because these movies are definitely different kinds of comedy within them, but also it's Kevin Smith at a different point in his career. I really think that the Zack and Miri Make a Porno is probably the last one of those films where he really had, I don't know, I wouldn't even say the passion in the film, but the way it all came out, I think was really done well in Zack and Miri. Now you get into Mallrats. Mallrats is an absolute classic. This movie is full of quotable one-liners. You got a cameo from Stan the Man himself in the second film in the View Askew universe. So this is, again, this movie Mallrats is that kind of second movie out there that was building up this universe, this shared universe out there. And this movie moves kind of at a breakneck pace, and you can see that Kevin Smith really kept the pace going the whole time. And it was full of a lot of comedy throughout, and you get into it. A lot of it is still kind of relatable, but it's definitely a lot more adolescent comedy, even looking back on it now, more so than even Clerks, where I think Clerks is one of those kind of movies that has, some of those old time jokes that kind of stand the test of time. Mallrats feels like it has just more of that 90s feel, and it's definitely a movie with a big 90s feel to it also. And I think that's what could probably split the crowd on this one. But for me, I think Mallrats is definitely the classic and definitely the way I'm going to be going on this vote.
Yeah, I'm totally opposite for you. Not okay, I shouldn't say totally opposite, but I'm voting for Zack and Miri. I like Mallrats, and as big as a fan of Kevin Smith as I am, after seeing Clerks for the first time and Mallrats being the follow-up, it just didn't hit me. It was so different. It's so different than Clerks. It's still Kevin Smith for sure. It still has his fingerprints all over it. It's just so different. And I think it maybe at the time, because I grew up in the 90s watching these movies, and I think it threw me for a loop a little bit. So I never really connected with it. But Zack and Miri is so not Kevin Smith. And that's what but it is. Right. It's got the DNA of him, but it's actually one of his best, well-produced films in his whole library. Incredible script. It's a romantic comedy at its core. And I would contend it might actually be his second best movie, because I do notice with at least my favorite movies of him, of Kevin, that the movies that he has the high quality actors in, and we'll talk about we'll talk more about Dogma in the next round. But when you have these really good high quality actors in your films, your script and your dialogue is just elevated. And I think that's what Zack and Miri really was. It still was Kevin Smith dialogue. It was still his jokes, but you have real A-list actors in it, and they just elevate what you bring. And so for me, Zack and Miri is great just for that. Someone mentioned Cop Out. All right, well, when I talk about A-list, let's not talk about Cop Out, because Bruce Willis kind of sucks. So
right.
But yeah, so but I think a lot of people are going to be with you.
Kind of the thing though too. Yeah, and definitely this is one I'm definitely more going emotionally with, because like you just said, Zack and Miri, he is definitely a better filmmaker in this movie. It's a better crafted film than a lot of his other films are. Definitely. But for me, I'm going a little bit with the more emotional vote, even though this one still has that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely has that '90s feel, and it still kind of brings me back in the comedy. Just still gets me there.
Well, that's the thing, man. This movie is all '90s because so this movie. It's crazy about Mallrats is it bombed. Like this movie bombed hard. It became a cult classic of Kevin Smith, who in general is just kind of a cult classic kind of director and filmography. But that movie found its audience years later for that movie. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm not surprised. A lot of people really do like that movie, or they've grown to like it, or they were always afraid to say whether they liked it or not. Mallrats, if you want to vote Mallrats, exclamation vote 4. If you want to vote Zack and Miri make a porno, exclamation vote 5. So for whatever reason, Streamlabs doesn't want to count your votes tonight. So keep voting. We're going to try to do this manually. I'm going to sort of gauge a lot of 4s, also a lot of 5s. Kind of wish it would count it for me. But we'll do it. It's okay. We'll get it done. No worries. From what I can see, it's pretty tight. Let's see. We got.
Oh yeah, it is.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Tightening up.
7 4s, 8. I see 8 4s. I see 9 4s. 5s have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mallrats winning.
I think some of this vote is the split between generations too, because this filmmaker falls right on that line of the different crowds and audiences that he hits.
And all right, time is up, and I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it for Mallrats. The slight edge. I'm just gonna put in 55 to 45. It was pretty close. A lot of love out there for Zack and Miri. But I did count a few more 4s than I did anything else. 9 to 7 Mallrats, says Patricia. All right, so I was close. I was definitely close. All right. Let's close that out.
I expect the rest of those to be exactly like that too.
Yeah, I think this next one is going to be. See, this is a terrible bracket for this not to work because it's going to be so close. I think the first one, the very first one was the only one that I think is going to be a blowout. I think the rest of them are going to be absolutely incredibly close. Can I restart Streamlabs? I already have. I'll probably do it again. I'll keep doing it all night until it works for me. I'm not sure why it's not working, so we'll figure it out. All right. Let's go on to our next matchup. Number 3 seed Clerks goes up against the number 6 seed of Chasing Amy. Man, I mean the one that started it all and one that people consider one of his greatest. So good luck, on this one, Trinity. Which one do you think should move on to the next round?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna just. I'll tell you in just a minute which movie is gonna win this vote, but I will tell you this is one that everybody's gonna be so emotionally split on because, like you just said, Clerks is the one that started it all. You go watch this movie. It's shot in black and white. You've watched it enough times. You see it in color. All those jokes, they stand the test of time. The conversations, the feel, everything about it, it stands the test of time. It doesn't really feel 90s other than some of the music that they use in the film, and seeing the actors obviously younger. It just has a lot of those great kind of, I don't know, would that be maybe a coming of age kind of story, and the jokes and just everything happening in there. You see a lot of the pop culture references, and Kevin Smith is really one of the guys that, he in 1994, him along right with Quentin Tarantino put these movies out there in 1994 with all of these kind of pop culture references in them, and paying homage to the things that they love. And that started with Clerks with Kevin Smith. And this movie is so damn funny. And there's like anybody that votes for this over Chasing Amy, I completely get and understand why you feel like this movie should move on over Chasing Amy. Now, moving into Chasing Amy, this movie is the absolute classic. And this movie is one of the type of films that Hollywood absolutely wishes they could replicate what Kevin Smith did in this film. You want diversity, check boxes, and all of those kinds of things? Go watch this movie. This will check every box you got. You got any of those old wooden ships? You need one? This is the old wooden ship that you need that you can't replicate. This is the ship of Theseus, ladies and gentlemen. This movie has all of those things in there. It's got your diversity, it's got your representation, it's got your comedy, it's got your drama. This is Kevin Smith at his absolute best. He has great actors in this film. With you got Christopher. I almost said Christopher Lee.
Don't Lee. You dare start! Don't you dare start!
Jason Lee. You got Jason Lee on there with Ben Affleck, who play perfectly together in this film as comic creators and the kind of world that they're living in. And you get them at these comic conventions, a lot of comic nerds, references, everything going on here. You get Kevin Smith in here with the Blunt Man and the Chronic. You get all of this, again, this world tying in here. But you also get such a great dramatic story in here, in this love story that's going on here. It's something that's a little bit relatable for, a lot of people could look at this and relate to some of the things going on here and understanding the situations and everything that a lot of these characters go through. This film is absolutely well paced. Never in this film do you feel bored. It's got, again, pop culture references in there. It's got just so many great things about this film. Again, some of Kevin Smith's best work. You got Joey Lauren Adams in there being, the girlfriend, and some of the performances, especially that scene between her and Ben Affleck, where it starts to feel a little bit cheesy, but it's so emotional, the point where they're standing there in the rain when it all happens, and then the fallout from there on out. I think the only thing about this film, the only negative about this film is at this point, right after that, the film seems like it gets just a little bit too long. But by all means, this is absolutely one of the top tier Kevin Smith films out there, and it's got everything in it that I think a movie needs to hit, especially with that Kevin Smith. It's got that comedy that everybody wants, with Jay and Silent Bob coming in and providing just a little bit more in the middle of all that kind of real life kind of stuff, real life drama going on in the film. And then all the drama in there mixed in with that. Just an absolutely great film.
Yeah, you make a lot of great points there. It's definitely one of the first film of his that required like some real acting, and he had to really direct actual acting. Clerks and Mallrats obviously were people were acting in that movie, but it was comedy, so it's definitely a different muscle that he had to start using for Chasing Amy, and I thought he nailed it. It's a great movie. Some very classic scenes in there, some pop culture, 90s pop culture, especially like at the scene at the end where I don't, spoiler alert, I'm just saying that right now, so close your ears, but at the end where like he comes up with his solution on how to fix everyone's relationship where they all have to sleep together. That's just so classic 90s, like it permeated like 90s pop culture, stuff like that. The relationship between Ben Affleck and Joey Lauren Adams was incredible on screen. You're a tracer. Like people still say is like, you're a tracer. Like it's such a great line. But I still think it's Clerks, man. Clerks started it all. It's still one of my favorite movies. It's one of the movies that made me want to become, work in the industry. And it's so like the script is so good. It's so funny, and it's pretty tight, and each scene, it just seems like a collection of scenes, but in reality there is a plot running through the whole thing, and there's callbacks like throughout the whole movie. They're always like referencing some of the earlier scenes in there, even though it seems almost like a giant SNL sketch almost, where it's like divided up into all these things, and it's about life, and it's about what it means growing up, and definitely a coming of age story as well, which it seems like that's thing about a lot of his movies are they're always coming of age stories in one way or the other. Yeah, man, I don't know. For me, it's
Absolutely.
Clerks. It's tough though, because this is a tough matchup.
And again, like you said, because I mean, this is where it comes down to, where we're actually talking about actual filmmaking, and this is one of those films where it's actually coming down to the filmmaking and what aspect do you want to look at it from. In the filmmaking, that his first film made indie with a super low budget, compared to Chasing Amy, where he had a bigger budget, he had better actors and everything like that, and by all means was a better director. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's any wrong way to go here, but I do think that, like I said, my vote is definitely on Chasing Amy.
All right, let's see what the people have to say. We're split again, which is great. I love it. I love when we're split, because we'll see what the people say. All right, fingers crossed. Let's see if this damn thing works. If you want to vote,
maybe we should cross the
cross the streams. Never cross the streams. If you I was gonna say never go at. All right, we're not. We haven't talked Clerks 2 yet.
I almost dropped the joke there.
If you want to vote Clerks, it won't show up, but you can vote in the chat. Exclamation vote 3. If you want to vote Chasing Amy, exclamation vote 6. A lot of threes. Seeing a lot of threes right now. It's 6-2 for Clerks, 7-2 Clerks, 8-2, 8-3.
You in there trying to vote twice, Mike Porter. I'm watching you, buddy.
8-4 now. 20 seconds left on the clock. Doing this manually. 8-5. Some late votes coming in for Chasing Amy. 8-5. Yeah, I think we're wrapping up on the votes there. So, and Trinity comes in 8-6, coming in at the end. 9-6 is the final tally here. So we got. Hold on, I'll do a quick math. Wait, how do I do this? 15 divided by 9. Is that right? No. 9 divided by 15. Is that how I do it? 60%. All right, 60% of the vote for Clerks. Yeah, I'm good at numbers. It's okay. 60% of the vote going for Clerks. Chasing Amy. You know, I think it's just I would say it's a tough seed for Chasing Amy, but with all these movies,
this next one's gonna be hard too.
I don't think no matter what, you know, combination we had, I think
there's no easy votes from here on out.
No, I don't think so. All right, Clerks, moving on to the next round. All right, let's get to one that I know is going to be extremely hard for Trinity, because he's been talking about it for like 2 days now. The number 2 seed, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, goes up against the number 7 seed, Clerks 2. This is tough. This is super tough. I'm a little disappointed that Clerks ended up with the 7 seed. I think it's a better movie than a 7 seed. But this is what we got. And where are you gonna land on this one, Trinity?
Well, you know, first I want to start off by saying, like I said earlier, you have Kevin Smith to thank for setting the template and setting the template for Kevin Feige to follow for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what this matchup right here is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Avengers Infinity War versus Avengers Endgame. Now, let me tell you. Let me start first with the Avengers Endgame of this matchup in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This movie is an absolutely great movie, full of one-line quotables from start to finish. This movie will have you in stitches from like every single performance and every single cameo. You got Ben Affleck in here playing multiple roles. You got same thing with Jason Lee, multiple roles. Matt Damon, all these different actors coming in. You got James Vanderbeek. And just all of these different actors coming in. This movie like I said, it's the Avengers end game of the View Askew universe. It's the culmination of all of these things, all of these shared universes coming together, and you even see that at the end of the film when you see Morris Day and the Time coming together for some jungle love. Again, this is an absolute classic. I would not doubt it if this film went to move on, because this movie is one that people look to with absolute joy. Now, you put that up against Avengers Infinity War in Clerks 2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this film is, this debate is coming down to filmmaking, and I know we all love the weed and dick and fart jokes, and it's all over the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but it's certainly right there in Clerks 2 as well. Clerks 2 is Kevin Smith's best film. Now, I know we're all emotionally tied to that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but Clerks 2 is the second film of Clerks, and it's got brings back Dante and Randall working inside of the movies. You've got Jay and Silent Bob still hanging out in front of the store peddling their wares, still asking for 15 bucks, little man. And, you know, from it, you got Rosario Dawson in here. Of course, you got Jennifer Schwalbach as well. Again, this is the Avengers Infinity War of the View Askew universe. This is Kevin Smith at his absolute best. This movie is like again, like we were saying earlier with the Clerks and the Chasing Amy, this is an actual film from an actual seasoned filmmaker. There are actual actors in this movie along with some of those old ones. You see great performances in this movie. Brian O'Halloran coming into this movie, carrying on these roles that we've known for years. That opening scene, him opening up and seeing the quick stop on fire, just kind of puts you there. I mean, it starts the pacing of this film. And then you move through the lives of Dante and Randall as they are some lowlifes, you know, probably in their 40s almost at this point, working in the movies, still being losers, making fun of their customers. And Brian O'Halloran really brings it in this film, because later on when you see the kind of relationship that he has with Claire, the oh man, why all of a sudden did I forget her name? You know who I'm talking about, Ahsoka Tano.
Rosario Dawson.
Sitting there on the roof
Rosario
after
Dawson.
this really Rosario Dawson. See them after this really great moment where Kevin Smith, they had the little dancing scene. Everything was all great. There's so many touchy-feely great things in this movie, along with the comedic strides that this movie makes. You get the donkey show. There's everything in this film, but Brian O'Halloran absolutely brings it in these scenes where he actually, on there, where he's watching Claire, because you can tell he's actually in love with this woman. He brings it on just these his little micro expressions. Rosario Dawson doing what she does best, making you want to love her and want more of her on screen. Then you move on into the rest of the show where it is this culmination. You seeing the donkey show, you see the guys get arrested, where you once again get some great performances in here. There is really this culmination of these films. You see Dante and Randall getting into it and having a very emotional conversation there with each other, while you still have Jay and Silent Bob to come in and break the tension just a little bit. And it's absolutely great. This movie still brings tears to my eyes multiple times watching it. And yes, I bawl like Kevin Smith probably bawls when he watches Marvel movies when I watch this movie. This is Kevin Smith's best film. And that's why I think that you should enjoy it, because it's got everything that you want from a Kevin Smith film. The weed and the dick and fart jokes and all of that drama and all of those pop culture references and all of these characters that you love in this film. And that's why you need to make sure that you vote for Clerks 2.
This is tough for me, man, because I went back this past week and rewatched both of them for the show. And always in the back of my mind thinking I enjoyed them, but they weren't the top echelon. And I don't know, maybe it's just a different time in my life watching it, or just rewatching it for the nth time again. And both of these got like super elevated on my list of my favorite ones. I always liked Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It was still always one of my favorites. But I guess I always remembered it being like a dumb schlocky comedy still, and liking it for that. But right. so I went in to rewatch it thinking, okay, it's just going to be like a dumb fun time. Totally cool. Like I love that stuff. It's great. And it's actually way better than that. I guess when I was younger, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I guess like in my younger days, like that stuck out more to me. But as I guess I'm older and I'm seeing it in different eyes, like different stuff popped out to me in this movie, and it's got heart, it's got soul, it's funny. The script is really good. Yes, it's got all the, like you said, dick and fart jokes, but like it's controlled. It's not over the top. Like they're there when they need to be, and it's not for the sake of just being in the movie. It's really good. The script is really well done. And yes, there's a lot of cameos in this movie. But I think all the cameos kind of work. It works for me. I think they're really funny. Clerks 2 though, man. The one thing that you could say about Clerks 2 is that a lot of movies sometimes are guilty of doing a sequel and just replicating what you did in the first one. This is not that at all. This is nothing like Clerks 1, except the thing that they do right is take the characters and have the characters be the same people. Not as far as story progression, but like they're the same guys. They're the next evolution of these characters, and it makes sense in the story without totally retreading what Clerks 1 was. And that's what makes it so great. Again, another romantic comedy. I don't know. The movie's weird because like the first like, I don't know, 2/3 of the movie is like a regular typical movie. And then, you know, we have a guy doing some dirty with a donkey, and which is like totally out there. But even after that, the whole scene in the jail is like some of the most emotional stuff that Kevin Smith has ever put to screen. With friendship and best friends and life and like what you want to do with your life and who you have in your life. What an emotional like scene when they're all in jail at the end. It's just it is one of his best films. I elevate it a lot higher than a 7 seed. I'm stuck though. I'm really stuck. I'm
telling you, I get emotional every time I watch it, man. Like emotional. It's just so damn good.
Yeah, I think I'm probably leaning Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but I won't be upset at this point either way. We'll see. I don't know. All right, let's do some poll. Well, okay, I'm gonna say we're gonna do a poll, and then we'll see. We'll see if this thing works. I doubt it. If you want to vote for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, exclamation vote 2. If you want to vote Clerks 2, exclamation vote 7. Come on, Streamlabs. Why don't you want to work tonight? I don't know. See, it says it's working. I don't understand. Just don't want to count people's votes tonight. All right, we got a 1, 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 2, 3 and 2, 3 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 4, 4 and 4, 4 and 5. 5 and 5, 6 and 5, 7 and 5, 8 to 5 right now. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back in the lead. I gotta say, I do appreciate all you guys sticking around tonight. I know the voting is stinky. I know some of the audio is not great, but we're having fun. We're hanging out. Let's go, says JT. Let's do it. All right, we got exclamation vote 2, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. We got a late vote from Jason, not enough to make it. So Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Moving on to the next round. Clerks 2, man, that was a tough matchup. That was a really tough matchup, I think. Perhaps it's something on YouTube's end. No, it is definitely on Streamlabs end because I can see it. It's going into the chat. It's on my screen, but I'm watching the Streamlabs Cloudbot, and it's it's running. It's just not counting your votes. I don't know why. Everything else is working, and I have no
Streamlabs.
I have no explanation. I just try my best, people. I just try my best. All right, let's go back to the bracket.
There's only one revenge, and it ain't of the king. It's of the Jedi.
All right, we went chalk the first round, Trinity, but now is where the really hard decisions come. And I gotta be honest, guys, I really think any one of these four is going to win. We already are different than the last time we did it. Chasing Amy got knocked out, so we are automatically going to have a new winner this time around for Kevin Smith. So let us go to the first matchup here. The number 1 seed Dogma is going to go up against the number 4 seed of Mallrats. I'm very curious which way you're leaning, because I know how much you love Mallrats, but you also are a big fan of Dogma. So which way are you going to go on this one? Which one do you think should move on to the next round?
I think this one is Dogma. This one, I'm definitely going Dogma. Again, both of these films great. Kevin Smith, like I said, he's kind of that king of pop culture references out there, and you see so many people trying to replicate that these days. Not only in movies, but even in like comic books, in movies, or not movies, but like music and all these different kinds of things. All these different kind of pop culture references, these homages to things. Kevin Smith was so great at putting those things into the films that he loves, and that's what you get out of Mallrats. Is it's chock full of all that 90s greatness. Now Dogma, that's the other thing that I would say is probably passionate about, is religion as well. And he just puts such a great mix of religion and comedy, and really only somebody that knows what they're talking about when it comes to the different religious sects and things like that could really do some of this, but it's still done in such a way that your common person, that don't really know much about any of it, could completely understand. There's absolutely great performances from start to finish in Dogma as well, and by all means Mallrats, but I think Dogma is definitely the better crafted film, one that I wouldn't say is necessarily as much of a period film as Mallrats is, where it's definitely got more of that 90s vibe, where Dogma was right there on the tail end of the 90s, and it didn't have as much of that 90s feel to it, moving, I guess, just into, I guess, the new millennium, I guess, moving out of that 90s feel of movies. So I think Dogma definitely.
Oh, you're 100% right on this one. We're not going to argue on this one. It is a Dogma all the way. Dogma is his best film. Personally, I know you disagree, but I think Dogma is 100% his best film. Look, this movie holds up today 1,000%. There's nothing in this movie that doesn't work. It's still social commentary that if it came out last year, it would still work. It's still stuff people talk about for 30 years. Right? I think it's like 30 years old now. So the acting is incredible. The comedy is there. If it wasn't for the fact that Jay and Silent Bob were in this movie, you would almost not even know that it was a Kevin Smith movie. But with them in it, it kind of wraps them into the universe. And they're so Jay and Silent Bob's characters in this are so good. Like, they're so reeled back. They're so pulled in. He doesn't allow those characters to overtake the movie, and it works so well. Like, you get them in small doses throughout the whole thing, and I think it makes the comedy shine even more. Look, man, getting Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in your movie, what an accomplishment. It pays off in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as well. You got Selma Hayek.
Fiorentino.
I know. Alan Rickman, dude. Alan freaking Rickman is in this movie. Look, I honestly think that this movie, I think one of the only reasons today that Dogma isn't talked about more is because nobody can watch it. because of rights issues. You can't stream it, you can't buy it, you can't do anything with this movie because it just literally like doesn't exist because of rights issues, which is such a shame. Because to me, I think his best movie, no one gets to watch it, no one can go back and watch it, so it's like erasing from the conversation, and I think it's the best.
Dogma got canceled.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like everything that went down with Weinstein, Dogma was the casualty of it, which really sucks. All right, let's get to this poll. Let's see what the people have to say. Well, actually, we're not going to see it, but we'll see it in the chat. Hey, if you want to vote for Dogma, do !vote1 in the chat. If you want to do Mallrats, !vote 4. We'll see where we're at. 0 and 3, 2 and 3 right now. Mallrats with the early lead. 2 and 5, 2, 3 and 5, 4 and 5, 4 and 6 right now. Mallrats with the slight lead. 4 and 7 now.
Make sure you put !vote space.
Yeah, well,
then 1 or 4 for your vote to count.
Luckily, it doesn't matter tonight. Nothing's counting. I'm counting. 5 and 8. Wow. I'm surprised. I'm flabbergasted. 5 to 8, 6 to 8 right now. Trinity coming in with his vote. 6 to 7 to 8, 7 to 9. 8 to 9. Time is up. 8 to 9. Mallrats is moving on to the next round. Upset. Major upset. I can't believe it, Trinity. I can't believe it. Mallrats going into the finals. It must be that Stanley effect.
You know what? Yeah, is that I guess not enough people like Alanis Morissette is God, huh?
I guess not. I'm telling you,
y'all.
It's because people haven't seen it in a while. People haven't seen this movie because they can't. I'm telling you, if you guys went and rewatched this movie, hey, look, here's the thing. If you guys want to rewatch this movie, go hit Trinity up. I think Trinity found a way for people to watch it on YouTube. So hit them up.
Got a link you can find.
That's how I watched it. All right, let's go back to the bracket.
If not, we can do. I would start one of those book club things where you send out the book, the DVD to somebody and share it and watch it, but people ain't gonna send that thing back.
Yeah, it would have to be the honor system, right? Like, here's your. Well, okay. First of all, I don't even own a DVD player anymore. I mean, I guess technically I do. I have a PlayStation, but it hasn't been hooked up in years. Yeah, because I've been digital for years, so I don't even play that. I play games on the computer now. So I guess technically I have one, but man, I'd have to like I have to go plug it in and do the whole thing. That's why I went digital, man. It's so easy. All right, number 3 seed Clerks will go up against the number 2 seed Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Trinity, if there was ever a more difficult decision, I don't know. We're here, we're doing it. This one is super hard for me. How do you feel about this? Is this as hard for you as it is for me?
This right here, like aside from the brackets that these just came from, this is absolutely hard. I mean, you're talking about the indie film, the first film that Kevin Smith ever did. Like I said, this is the one that launched the universe. And by all means, if we want to take and look at it from a filmmaker's standpoint, if you wanted to look at awards and all of these different kinds of things, you could seriously take a look at both of these films and look just from a filming standpoint and see that both of these are great films, especially first one, Clerks, indie film, black and white, comedy, all these different things in it that the building of this universe and just everything that this film does. The only thing it really don't have is a whole lot of drama in it, you know, that really draws you in. I mean, you get some of the relationship stuff, but it's nothing too serious. About as serious as you get in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because this film, again, is just from start to finish, laughs. Nothing but one-liners from this film. And this one, by all means, I might have to help you count down there in the chat, because this is going to be so split. Like, you're going to have to count it 3 or 4 times. Like, I honestly don't know how I can, what I want to vote on at this point. I'm thinking Clerks just because it is that first one. But Jay and Silent Bob, like you said, if you go back and watch it, you think it's that adolescent movie that you just probably enjoyed because you were in your early 20s or, you know, late teens. But it actually really holds up. A lot of the jokes in there are funny, and a lot of the things that they really did, again, that Kevin Smith does that stand the test of time. This is it. This is it in this film too.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. It does hold up. I didn't honestly, I didn't expect it to. I really didn't. I thought I was going to go into it and it was just going to be a dumb, fun comedy. Yeah, this is tough, man. Dude, Clerks is so good. It's so like, it's his first one. So he really, like, that was his one shot to like make it, right? So he put everything into it. So much love. And you know, so much so that like Clerks is like one of those movies where like, the script were like an insignificant scene at the very beginning of the movie where an old guy goes into the bathroom, right? And it's such an insignificant scene, and you kind of forget about it, and it brings it back. And I'm not going to spoil it, you know, for I know maybe some people haven't seen it, but it brings it back and reconnects it at the end.
In every movie afterward. It's talked about in like every single movie afterward.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Honestly, like, I still quote Clerks. No time for love, Dr. Jones. Like, oh, what a great little scene that is. I love, you know, the 30.
Hey, Olaf, do metal.
The 37 dicks in a row. Like, honestly, like, my wife loves Clerks so much. Like, she will just honestly say to people, like, try not to suck any dick on the way to the parking lot. She will literally say that to people because she loves this movie so much. It's just, if you grew up in the 90s, it is absolutely quotable. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is such a great time, though. I'm torn. I think I'm with you. I think that I will lean Clerks, even though that's no shade to Strikes Back. I think it's great. I mean, you got Mark Hamill, the cock knocker, in this movie, fighting, bong lightsabers. It's so ridiculous. The movie is over the top ridiculous, yet reeled in. You know, it's a hard balance to do.
Yeah, I think Jay and Silent Bob is like, I don't think it's Jason Mewes at his best. I think his absolute best was probably in Chasing Amy. And it's just that he was only in it for that small bit. But he is just like, he carries a lot of that film of Jay and Silent Bob, man. It's just, yeah, it's good.
Let's do a poll. Let's see what the people have to say. Do you want Clerks or Jay and Silent Bob? That's a good question. Wait, if you want Clerks, exclamation vote 3. If you want Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, exclamation vote 2 in the chat. I think. Is it going? All right, it's going. There we go. Streamlabs. Oh, look at that. Hallelujah. Holy. All I got to do is say dicks on stream, and all of a sudden it starts working.
Yeah. Should have said it earlier.
I should have. All right, at least it's working. All right. All right, so it's a good question. Jason Mewes, his best one. I would actually argue it was Dogma. Because I know he's had more to do in other movies, but I think that the fact that like he was so restricted in being over the top that it really forced him to be an actor. And you know, Clerks 2. I would say Dogma and Clerks 2 are probably his two best.
And Dogma, he did have some hilarious lines in Dogma as well. Like when she says like, oh, I talked to God and he told me I'm supposed to, and he hops up out of the he hops up out of the seat and he's like, man, of all the women we meet, and then he hops up and she's like, hey, no, stop. He's like, I'll scream the R word.
No, you know what his best line was? early in the movie, they established that I forget her character's name, but she was obviously a descendant of Jesus, and Chris Rock's character, the disciple, says that Jesus was black. He was really black. And so like, and you don't even think about it. And then like later on in the movie, when they all figure out that she's a descendant of Jesus, Jason Mewes like, wait a second. So she's part black? And the whole movie just like stops and everyone just like looks at him. It's hilarious scene. I'm not even doing it justice. Trust me, it's a lot better. Clerks, Trinity. I didn't even have to count this time. Clerks, moving on. Again, look at this, 54-46.
Tough vote.
Tough vote here. Man. Whew. And yeah, I saw Lawrence in there talking Rufus. We didn't even really mention a lot of George Carlin, like at all. And he was great in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. He was great in Dogma. What a find. I mean, obviously he was famous, but like Kevin really gave him a shot to be an actor in more than most people did. And he was great in these movies.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He was great, especially as Cardinal Glick. Like he was just like, and he was just so limited in that, but he was so great. And then you even think of like Jay and Silent Bob, like he was he even in the movie for 5 minutes?
No, he was the rules. He was the trucker. The rules of the road. There's a great. You can find the clip on YouTube of Kevin Smith talking about. I think he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was talking to him about George Carlin and that role specifically. And apparently Carlin really took that role super serious and was like in character, not so much of like doing the rules of the road, but like he really was like talking about how like did his character believe in the rules of the road or is he total bullshit, like how did he feel? Like Carlin really got into it, even though it's like a dumb stupid comedy, and the role was literally one scene that they filmed in like 3 hours, but the man was good. That's why he was the best, man. George Carlin was the man.
Definitely.
All right, Trinity, we are down to the finals. We got number 4 seed Mallrats going up against the number 3 seed of Clerks. And hey, I guess this is fitting, right? I mean, this was the first movie he did going up against the second movie he ever did. Man, Mallrats making it to the finals. I'm a little shocked, to be honest, but it's not up to us. We just these are our finalists. Mallrats, Clerks. Which one do you think deserves tonight to be crowned the best Kevin Smith movie?
So you don't know what to say here. This, like, who would have thought that we would be here? Mallrats versus Clerks. Both of these films are absolute, just great films. Again, these are Kevin Smith's first films. These are the first two that launched off this shared universe of all of these characters. Now, I think for me, the one I'm definitely going Clerks here in this when it coming between these two. For me, only because I think it stands the test of time just a little bit more because it doesn't have that total 90s feel within the soundtrack, within the dress of the characters, and just kind of everything ingrained in there. You've even got that 1990s mall life in there. You got those magic eye pictures, just all the different things that is so 90s about that movie, where I think Clerks just stands more that test of time of being a comedy and in the way it's done. And again, his first film that did kind of launch this thing off. And again, like you were saying, it seems like a collection of scenes, but there's actually a whole lot going through it. And there's a lot of real life in that very first film, where I do think Mallrats definitely seems a little bit more adolescent style humor, as opposed to getting to Clerks, where you contrast some of the things. Like in Clerks, where you get the old man who was pissed off about dropping off his videotape, where he came in there and dropped some knowledge, like completely like gut punching Dante while he's sitting there about the reality of his life, and then Dante still gets the last laugh there. I think Clerks is the one that's got my vote here.
Yeah, I'm going Clerks, man. I'm going Clerks, for sure. It is the one that started it all. It is, I love that they did black and white for the movie. I love that look, I know that they did it for budgetary reasons, but I feel like it adds to the story. Dante and Randall are two of the best characters he's ever written. And they're, extended out through Clerks 2 as well. And yeah, I love that at the end of the day, Clerks is a story about friendship. It's about growing up. It's about, figuring out who you are in life. It is so 90s. The music is great in it. It's got way more one-liners, I think, than Mallrats does. Mallrats is cool. It's got a lot of good moments. I did like the whole the fat man, he's basically like the whole turning into Batman thing. I like the chocolate covered pretzel bit. That's gross. It's totally gross. It makes me want to throw up.
Michael Rooker in there, man.
Yeah, Michael Rooker. I think coming off of his probably the biggest thing he did. Well, I don't want to say the biggest, but like Problem Child, like he was part of that series, and he wasn't really a household name, and he really got on people's maps with this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I just
cliffhanger.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I think the biggest downside of Mallrats is actually the main story of it. The main romantic comedy portion of it. I think that is actually like the worst part of the movie, and all the ancillary things around it are actually way better than the main plot. So I am gonna ding it. I am gonna ding it for that. So Clerks for me, for that reason.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Trinity. It's now time for the people to decide, I think, what they want to vote for. If you want to vote for Mallrats to make it to our championship, to be crowned the winner, vote 4. If you want Clerks, vote 3 right off the bat. It's going to be tight. I see votes coming in, 4s and 3s throughout the board, bouncing back and forth right now. Clerks with the slight lead, 40 seconds left to the clock, 60% of the vote. Mallrats, though, getting a couple late ones there, closing that gap. This is going to be tight. This is going to be close. I think it's going to be like a 55-45.
Actually way tighter than I thought it would be.
All right, they're coming in. The votes are coming in now. Some more 3s.
Ooh.
Brian changing his vote, going back and forth. Oh, man, Mallrats making it close.
We need to call in some ringers. We're the ringer.
Yeah, I mean, you got 10 seconds left. If you're the ringer out there, you better come in. Yeah, uncomfortable position like the back of a Volkswagen. That's also something my wife literally says all the time. Not even joking. She's a huge Kevin Smith fan. Yeah, fly, fat ass, fly. That was a great scene. All right, 0 time left on the clock. Oh. The slimmest of margins, 56% of the vote. Clerks, the one that started it all, is your winner tonight. You guys have voted Clerks as your champion. I really need some sound effects. I need like a cheer or like an explosion. I need I'm gonna do that for next week. I'm gonna have like
go with that dramatic.
I know. I need
in the beginning.
I need something like explosions. I need more explosions, Trinity. That's what the show's missing. More explosions.
You need Michael Bay.
I do. I got to Michael Bay this thing up a lot. All right. Clerks is your winner. Clerks defeated Chasing Amy, defeated Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, defeated Mallrats as your winner. Trinity, my man, thank you so much for coming back on the show. The people love you, man. The people love when Trinity comes on, gives his take on movies, and I love when you come on too, man. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it anytime you come on. And I'm telling you, we all miss you in the mornings, Adam. You need to come back.
I know. You know what? My mornings are going to get a little bit more busy. So unfortunately not going to be able to stream in the mornings. I know, I'm sorry. Look, yeah, how about this? If when I get to 1,000 subscribers, and I get, 10,000 more people to pay me $5 a month, then I'll quit my job. Until then, I don't think I can do that. We'll see.
Look, if you're watching this channel right now, you need to go tell everybody that you know that they need to come subscribe to this channel. Look, I am the Click Commander. Remember this face. Whenever you see the... But seriously, people, tell all your friends and family. It's funner the more people we get here, and there should be way more people here subscribe to this channel.
Thank you. I mean, funner's not a word, but I appreciate the sentiment. Absolutely.
It's a word now.
Yeah, we just invented it. All right, everyone, give some love, give some hearts to Trinity in the chat. Thank you, my man, for coming on. Always a pleasure.
For having me, man.
Always a pleasure when Trinity comes on.
Yes, definitely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for tonight. Couple things before we leave. One, next week's show. Make sure you come back next Wednesday. Guess what we're doing? Go ahead, guess. We are doing Jim Carrey movies. That's right, Jim Carrey. I gotta tell you, our bracket next week for Jim Carrey is absolutely incredible. Bruce Almighty, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Liar Liar, The Mask, and Man on the Moon. That is a killer lineup. So make sure you come back for that. Also, if you're not already on the Discord, !Discord. Well, Discord may not work. It's in the link below for Discord. Go sign up on the Discord because we have voting right now going on for the show in 2 weeks. Movie musicals. We have 50 musicals up for vote. You guys can decide which 8 make it to the movie musicals show. We got a lot of good ones on there. I'm rooting for Greatest Showman. It's a really good movie. I really like that one. And Fiddler on the Roof. That's a great one too. Okay. Thank you all for hanging out. I appreciate every single one of you. And we will see you all next week. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you guys later.